video is intended as a very short, quick start guide on playing split format and like just being able to jump right into the format, basically giving you everything you need to know. So what is split format? What makes it split? Well, the idea is that instead of picking cards from the entire range of the 12,000 card Yu-Gi-Oh game, you only get to use specific cards from different card pools in the format, aka different splits. So you'll pick, for example, you might want to play a goat control deck. And so the goat control deck can only use cards from this set of cards along with the generic card pool that every deck can use. So no matter what archetype you're playing, you can play any of these cards. You can play Cyber Dragon, Gores, etc. All of these are at 3. And then there's a very limited amount of cards that are at 1. And for generic, that's these 7, and I'll get more on like how the ban list works later. But like everything you see in this picture, every deck can use at 3, except every deck can use 1 copy of these 7 cards. And so if I were to play Goat Control, I could use, like I said, any of those. So I might want to use like Spirit of the Fall Wind to search for my Magician of Faith or my Knight of Silent. And then for the rest of the deck, I could use like Scapegoat and Metamorphosis to make Thousand Eyes Restrict, because those are in this dueling book link. I could not, for example, use Monster Reborn because that's not in here. I could not use Pot of Avarice because that's not in here. You know, only the cards you see in the dueling book link are the cards you're allowed to use. And so the benefit of this is that if a card or if a deck is too weak, we can give it the support it needs without throwing off the balance of other pools. Because like, for like an extreme example, say Chaos Dragons is really bad. We might want to give Chaos Dragons Foolish Burial, or even Painful Choice. But obviously, Painful Choice in another deck could be extremely broken. But that won't happen in split format, because if I give it to Chaos Dragons, only Chaos Dragons get to use Painful Choice. Now obviously that's an extreme example, but you get the idea, is that decks that need support can get their support without other decks benefiting as a side effect and throwing off the balance. And the whole goal is to have every deck be like about as good as each other, so everyone can compete with whatever deck they like the most. And so that's basically the idea of the format, is the different card pools. You pick one of those and then the generic card pool as well, and that's what you build your deck with. So right now we only have 9 card pools available, plus the generic card pool, but we're going to add more over time. So right now you see Aliens, Chaos Dragons, Goat Control, Melfi's, Odeon, Perfect Circle, Plant Tengu, Teledad, and Volcanics. Those are the 9 archetypes that are legal in the format right now. You'll see Odeon is a small pool because this is all it needs to be a good deck. It doesn't need more support than this. Even with what it has here, it's already one of the better decks in the format, I would say. And you'll see this is in the side deck because this card is limited to 1 copy. But the way you know for sure like what's banned is by going over here into the split format server. We have this channel called Ban List Quick Access, and this is where you know for sure what is exactly limited and not limited. So you'll see like for generic, these 7 cards I mentioned earlier, these are all limited to 1 copy each. For Odeon, Treasures of the King is limited to 1 copy each. So that's how you know for sure. Going by the dueling book, looking at what's in the side deck doesn't necessarily correlate, because there might be so many extra deck monsters that some of them physically have to go into the side deck on the link, even if they're not limited. So like Volcanics has Volcanic Emperor at 1. Melfi's has a couple limited cards as well. Teledad has a card of Safe Return at 2. This is the only semi-limited card right now. Because, you know, 3 card of Safe Returns might be a little egregious, especially because it makes you more likely to open multiples. Yeah. And then to see all the card pools, you have this card pools quick access link. This is the only way to see the card pools. You have to go to this channel and like click these links, and it'll just open and you'll be able to look at them. We have our intro and rules, format design philosophy, just all like information you can read to learn more about like the ideas behind the format, some deck building tips. And then the last thing I want to touch on is the daily quests. So every day I will post a quest basically saying play a duel with either player using one of these 2 decks. You don't both have to use one of these. So like for 628, if I played Goat Control and my opponent played Melfi, that would have counted. The only thing is they both have to be legal card pools. Like you can't just make up your own card pool that you want to add in the future and get the daily quests from that. You only get daily quests from playing like the actual legal options. And so every time you do, or every day that you do a daily quest, you get a quest star. So you'll see these are the people that have quest stars so far. And this symbol means a quest star that was spent. So Wooly has already spent 10 of his quest stars. And right now, this is what you can buy. You can either pay 10 stars, like Wooly did, to add a card pool to the format. So Wooly is the reason Melfies are in the format. When the format came out like a month ago, there were no Melfies. And now because Wooly played his 10 daily quests, he was able to add Melfies to the format for everybody to use. So super easy way, basically just play one game a day for 10 days, doesn't even have to be consecutive, and you get to make your permanent addition to split format, which, you know, it's really cool, really fun to be able to add the archetypes you want to add and see how they fit into the format. And then the other option is you can spend 3 stars to add 1 card to any card pool. So like if you really want Goat Control to have some new fusion monster that came out, you can add it. Or if you wanted to have like a side deck option that's really good against one of its weaker matchups, you can add that too, just for 3 stars. And then we post our replays down here. So like you can see what decks people are playing and how they're playing them if you want to like learn how the decks work or like find inspiration from what other people are using. Everyone posts their replays here all the time. So we have a lot of activity and like good ways to learn how the decks work. So that's basically it. Just a very easy quick start guide on how to get into split format, and I hope y'all try the format out. Thanks.